welcome to another episode of This Is Metal with Joe Lawson. Tonight, Joe, we're going to be talking all about the metal queen herself. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Doro Pesch. How you doing tonight, Joe?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, and this is pretty interesting because we've been doing This Is Metal for over a year now. We've got about 22 shows already in the can, and this is the first time we're actually doing a show on a female metalhead. So I think Doro's a perfect one to start off with. So let's talk about how big of a Doro fan you are.
Well, honestly, I'm a huge Doro fan. Actually, she's my favorite female vocalist.
Okay.
I love everything about her. Her attitude, her charisma, her passion, and her voice is just awesome. It's phenomenal. Yeah. It's the perfect. To me, it's the perfect female metal voice. Yeah,
and I mean, she's the one that for a lot of us we first heard as far as a metal rocker. I mean, maybe you could say Joan Jett, Lita Ford, but for a lot of us metalheads, Doro Pesch was the first kind of real metal chick, And I gotta say that I put her right up there with Ronnie James Dio, who I know she was happened to be real good friends with Ronnie. But what I'm talking about is kind of interesting. Both her and Ronnie weren't all that tall, but man, they can both hit those high notes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. She's a great singer. She's full of life. Not just her voice, her passion, and her charisma. I mean, you've had the pleasure of interviewing her a couple of times.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I'm going to be talking about that. And but the thing with Doro is, I mean, she really is the whole package. But she just had a career based on the way she looked. I don't think she would have lasted this long. She's, like I said, indeed the whole package. She's got the looks, but she's got the talent, and she's got the charisma. She's got everything going for her, and
she truly respects and appreciates her fans too. Much like Ronnie James Dio, you brought up. That's kind of ironic that you brought him up too.
Yeah.
She has that same down to earth respect, love, and appreciation for her fans that Ronnie did. She really does.
Yeah, and I can kind of really attest to that because while I've never met her in person, like you said, Joe, I've had the opportunity over the last year to interview her twice now, and I tell you, both times, the one thing I took away from it was, again, I'm just talking to the woman over the phone. I've never met her in person, but by the time I hung up the phone with her both times, I felt like I was talking to a long-lost friend, somebody I'd known for years. She made me feel that comfortable, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Same goes for me, man. I've never had the pleasure of meeting her, but I know a lot of people who have, and they have shared stages with her and things like that. And I've never heard anyone say anything negative about her. Never, not one time. Yeah, and here's the thing with her. Like, just 2 times I've interviewed her. I mean, being from Germany and all, she's got a real nice, sexy accent. But the funny thing is, like, as I'm talking to her, I'm asking her the questions as I'm interviewing her. But one thing that really kind of came alive during both interviews is her enthusiasm when she talks about anything she was talking about throughout that interview. About a month ago when I had the pleasure talking to her again, her enthusiasm comes alive. When she talks about her music, the CD and the Blu-ray she's getting ready to release. I mean, she gets so excited just talking about it that it's kind of infectious. I mean, I get as excited as her. Just and again, it's just like talking to an old friend. I don't know how else to put it, but her. You took the words right out of my mind.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that you just said that because I was literally just thinking that. That when you're around somebody that's that positive, that passionate, that aura transmits. When you're talking to them or when you're around them, it's infectious. It is. It's good to be around people like that. It's healthy. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and
she's one of those people for sure.
And Doro Pesch is one of those artists that I can sit here and tell you that I may not be able to name every album she's put out, but she's one of those artists that I guarantee you, anytime she has a new album coming out, I'm going to get it. I'm going to support it because I know anything that she puts out because she's been doing this since 1987, putting out this great music. I I know it's going to be good. I have, and to date, I can't think of one kind of like clinker album that she's released. You know.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with all of her songs or all of her discography. As much as I should be.
Yeah.
The Triumph and Agony album that she did with Warlock. I mean, that's probably what she's best known for, and the biggest classic that she did.
That's true, Joe.
And my personal favorite. Yeah. I mean, I loved that whole album. The guitar playing, the songs. It was just a magical time, and it was a fantastic album.
Well, let me tell you, Joe.
Everything she's done since then is good.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not. I'm just not that familiar with it. And I went and listened to several other tracks. There was some new stuff that I listened to actually tonight that I was unfamiliar with until tonight. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And the Diamonds thing that she did, with the symphony and the classical twist with the metal, it's really cool. It's really tasteful. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Joe, Triumph and Agony, that's one of those albums. That's like her landmark album. But a lot of the reason for that is. First of all, when I was interviewing her the last time, it was because this Friday, October 1st, they're going to be releasing, DORO's releasing like the 35th anniversary of Triumph and Agony. And what she's doing is, a couple years back, they recorded her and her band performing that album in its entirety at Sweden Rock Fest. And you can pick up the album. There's different kind of editions. Now, what she's doing, because she runs her own, she's releasing it through her own label, you can get like... a cassette if you want. It's going to be, you can get it on vinyl. You're going to be able to get it on CD and Blu-ray. So that's what I want to get, is the CD and the Blu-ray, because you're going to get the sound and the vision. It's one thing to kind of.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking that too. I would love to see that. As soon as you mentioned that, the first thing that popped in my head was, if she puts that out on DVD, I'll definitely buy it.
Well, it's coming out this Friday, and I think get on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever format you want. But she said yes,
awesome.
But she's old school, and that she's like, I'm going to be releasing it on, and again, if you go back and listen to the interview I did with her, she's like, I'm going to be releasing on cassette and vinyl and everything, and people can get whatever format they want, and I just love it. And again, as she's talking, I'm getting excited. I'm wanting to go out and, buy it. And like you said, if that's the album, Triumph and Agony, it's celebrating its 35th anniversary. Just think about that, Joe. As we sit here, we're talking about something that came out 35 years ago, and it is still resonating with people. The only difference is this new release is going to be kind of a band performing it live in its entirety, so it's like a live album of it. And so
what a treat. I'm going to put you on the spot here, little brother.
Yeah.
Sometime tonight, it doesn't have to be right now, but sometime throughout our discussion here of DORO, give her a plug, man. Mention the website and when that's available again.
Well,
because I think that's something really special for fans of DORO and Warlock. I mean, that's pretty awesome that she did that.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Also, I'm also going to post. I already posted some stuff about it on the This Is Metal page, but I will repost like the two interviews I did that we've mentioned, so people can go and hear that. I'm gonna repost. There's some great little ads for the CD and the DVD coming out this Friday, so people can go and check that out. I'll have that up on the This Is Metal page, because people always going there for stuff. But you were right. So the CD and the Blu-ray, you can get it on vinyl, I'm told, and then she's also selling it as a box set. Like you can also get this cool little DORO action figure of her. So she is really doing a lot of cool stuff to promote this thing, and again, it's called Triumph and Agony Live. So we will put all that information up on our This Is Metal page after Joe and I record this tonight. But so people can see that, because tonight's show is not going to go up before then, but I will be sure to be posting stuff about it all week, like you said, Joe, because I want to really promote this thing, because just the clips I've seen from it, I mean, are awesome. See, it's one thing to listen to like a live CD, but man, I really enjoy, like you were saying, Joe. I enjoy, like, when I get a DVD like that, I can watch the thing, kind of put the visual.
Absolutely. I mean, since COVID's pretty much changed and ruined most of the world, the next best thing we got is Blu-ray and DVD. You can pop in a killer concert from your favorite band, and watch it, in the comfort of your own home. That's still pretty cool, man. That's a pretty good thing. As I get older, I think I enjoy that more than I do going out.
Yeah, and I enjoy going to concerts still, but here's the thing, and in the light of, especially where I live in California and other places like that, I mean, tomorrow they're going to go and vote, Joe. Like, they want to make California like New York, where everywhere you go, practically, you got to prove that you're vaccinated. I mean, just to go to a movie theater again or a concert, and then you got to go to
like Nazi Germany.
You got to go to if you go to a concert, you got to wear a mask and all this. I mean, I don't really want to go like you unless I can just have the freedom to go and kind of enjoy it. I mean, you're going to spend half a night just getting in.
What they're voting on is an 8-cent per mile tax. They want to tax you for where you drive.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
something else. That's something else that they're trying to shove up everybody's ass quietly, and they're not talking about it. And it's shoved into their infrastructure deal.
Oh yeah. I'm hoping none of that. I mean, they're really getting crazy. They want to not just here in California, all across the United States. They're trying to force people out of their cars. Even it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I really feel sorry for like New Zealand, Australia, and some of these other countries. I mean, they got it worse than we do.
I mean, I even seen in Europe where they got gas shortages now. People fighting over gasoline. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just a shit show. But thank God we got people like DORO to talk about.
Yeah, in fact, DORO, let me tell you.
Heavy metal days,
yeah. And let me tell you about DORO. It's funny you brought up COVID and all that for a minute, Joe, because she was telling me that initially she had other plans for this year. Like she wanted to have a new studio album out, but she said because of all the COVID stuff and the lockdowns, that kind of put plans on hold. So she realized, you know what, it's the 35th anniversary of Triumph and Agony, and she remembered filming this show a couple years back at the Sweden Rock Fest. And she said, I think we're going to take this downtime and we're going to put something out to celebrate that. We'll put out a CD and a Blu-ray, and then she said also along the way, like. She decided to put together a box set. You get vinyl, you can get cassette version, and then you get this cool little action figure of her. And then I think she also said she's going to include like her own perfume fragrance kind of in the box set, which it's something different. But I think that's what makes it cool because I can't think of any other artist that's done that.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, that's a great marketing idea, and I mean.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
And talking about marketing for a minute. Now we're talking about DORO, of course, but I also recently had the opportunity to interview the guitar player in her band. His name is oddly enough Tommy Bolin. He's kind of this big buff guy, and he's quite the shredder. He's been with her. He started out like in Warlock, and here's the funny thing. They got a great chemistry. He started doing this thing years ago. I think going back to like '87. He was telling me. Where he puts DORO up on his shoulder, and the photographer took notice, and they took all these great photos of him doing this over the years. So after I had the chance to interview DORO recently, the publicist reached out. How would you like to interview her guitar player Tommy? I said, oh sure, I'm always willing to talk to anybody. I believe anybody's got a story to tell. And he was a pretty cool guy to talk to, and I just posted that if anybody wants to check that out. So I'll be putting that up on the
very cool.
This is
Tommy
Metal
Bolin's
page.
A great guitarist.
And here's the funny thing. I was asking him because he's on Facebook and everything, and when you put in Tommy Bolin, you gotta be real specific on how you spell his name because his name is spelled A-N, whereas there's this other guitar player that was in Deep Purple named Tommy Bolin that died like in 1976 when he was 25, and he says people are always getting him confused with this guy that died years ago, and he said, in fact, I showed up to do a guitar clinic one day, he was telling me, and he said this lady in the audience, she just thought that I was trying to fool everybody thinking that I was in Deep Purple. I said, no lady, I'm not that guy. He died years ago. My name is spelled different, but I mean, but it's kind of cool that, like, talking to Tommy, I said, it's funny that, DORO, of course, she's a metal queen, she's a front woman, and so people obviously take notice of her, but it's kind of interesting that you're the one other member of a band that people kind of picked up on,
Yeah. Whether it was because of the guy in Deep Purple or not.
No, it has nothing to do with that. But it's just kind of funny. That's something me and him were talking about, and they don't play nothing alike. They look nothing alike. It's just kind of funny. Like even when you go for search for stuff on Tommy Bolin, like I said, you got to be sure how you spell the name. But stuff still comes up on the other
Yeah.
Tommy Bolin, and he says, yeah. Oftentimes I'll show places and people think, you're not Tommy Bolin. He's dead. Who are you trying to fool? I'm like, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah. Could you imagine? But so Doro, going all the way back to '87. Here's another interesting thing I learned. Her band was originally called Warlock, but she hasn't been able to use that name for years because somebody else, like the record, I forget who it was, but somebody was stopping her from using the name, and she just recently got the rights back. So he said, so Tommy was telling me, he says a lot of times the concert will be billed as Doro, of course, because she's been a solo artist for many years because she was unable to use that name for several years. He goes, but now sometimes when it's billed as Warlock, she hasn't decided she's going to go back to using that name or not. But so he said, like, now that they have this out, he goes, I'm kind of it looks like I'm gonna be back with Doro kind of full time for the next for a while. So I think that's a good thing. She's kind of going back to her roots, and she's constantly, as you know, working on new music.
Does she still have Johnny D playing drums?
Yeah, and Johnny D. If you know anything about him, he's been her drummer for years now. Probably the one guy that's been in her band probably as long as maybe Tommy Bolin that I was just talking about. But a lot of people know him from Brittany Fox.
Right.
But like if you look at Brittany Fox, you think the drummer from Brittany Fox plays in Doro's band. But I tell you, he's a badass drummer. He's one of those.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that can kind of do it all. Like very much like we were talking about Zakk Wylde.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then the first time I interviewed her, which was a little over a year ago, I was interviewing her for. She'd had this great box set she just released, and it was kind of like of all this cool unreleased stuff that she'd had. Like she has tracks on there. Like I think she does a cover of. You can go and check the stuff on YouTube, and I might post it up on the This Is Metal page. But for example, she does a cover of Metallica's "Nothing Else Matters." She's got a couple tracks. I think she does a cover of a couple Motorhead tunes where she sings a couple of these duets, like with Lemmy. She's got a duet with Peter Steele, the frontman for Typo Negative. So she knew a lot of these kind of legendary metal figures, and she was friends with these guys. And she'd go in the studio. She'd tell me every once in a while and record these extra tracks. And she says eventually I had so much unreleased stuff, I decided to put it out like on a box set, and she called it Diamonds. So she's always doing stuff, and that she's somebody that's never really even slowed down for even a minute.
One more you forgot to mention is the duet she did with Udo.
Okay, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think you can find that on the same
Udo Dirkenschad
box set. Yeah, but see, she knew all these guys, and she told me like she was great friends with Ronnie, obviously, and I've never seen anybody like say a bad thing about her. Everybody just loves her to death,
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're not familiar with her stuff, take some time and check it out. Do a search on her, Doro Pesch. Not just the Triumph and Agony stuff. Like I said, there's a whole career's worth of stuff that she's done. That's some really good stuff. One song that's I think it's like 3 or 4 years old now. She did I really like too. Is called "Raise Your Fists in the Air."
Oh, okay. Now I'll tell you, probably my all-time favorite Doro or Warlock track has got to be off Triumph and Agony, and I think it was for the song "All We Are." And anybody heard that?
Yep.
Heard that song? Great rock anthem, and I think that's part of a reason it has a special place in my heart. When Warlock was first starting to break here in America, again, you got to remember she comes from Germany, so for her to kind of have that kind of success in America, it was a very big deal at the time, and that was a huge hit. And I tell you, I think that was kind of my introduction to Doro, and that's probably my favorite song that she ever's done. It's got a real special place in my heart,
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. That's one of my standout favorites.
And the way she just gets that's another reason I'm going to order the Blu-ray and that coming out this week and the CD, because I've seen video clips of that song from this release, and man, it just the way she gets the crowd going, it's amazing because she's such a little thing. But I mean, she can rock a crowd, as good as Dio or Ozzy Osbourne or any of those legendary, metal figures.
Absolutely, yeah. She's a fireball. She's a great front lady and great singer, great songwriter. Her positive attitude just literally. It just illuminates and glows.
And she even had Gene Simmons, of all people, from Kiss, produce one of her first solo CDs, and so she's worked with like all kinds of people, and in fact, I heard her talking recently in a recent interview she did, where she was mentioning that she does have a new CD coming out that she's working on for next year, and one of the songs on there she's going to be doing a duet with Lita Ford, of all people, because people have been wanting her and Lita to do something for years.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
And see, Lita Ford, probably next to DORO, is probably one of my favorite metal singers. But again, when you talk about Lita Ford, I don't know if she's all that metal. Now, I remember when I was growing up, I would see, a lot of times you'd see like pinups of her, both DORO and Lita, kind of like in these rock mags that they used to have, and like which one's hotter and stuff, but and there's kind of this competitive thing, but it was not so much between DORO and Lita. It's kind of like these rock magazines kind of getting people to buy them. It's something they would do, like put them on the covers.
Yeah.
But then again,
they were just selling an image.
Yeah. But
when it came to them back in them days,
they were good.
They knew that would help sell magazines.
And they were good at. But my point I'm making now at that time, I remember thinking, like. Both DORO and Lita were kind of a metal queen, but if you listen to Lita Ford's music, I mean, depending on the album, I think Lita Ford's a little more of a she's got a metal edge to some of her albums, but I think she's a little more of a pop artist than maybe DORO is,
Yeah. I met Lita when I was 16 years old, man.
Wow. Talk a little bit about that experience.
Well, the girl that I was dating at the time was a huge Lita Ford fan.
Yeah.
And she was coming over to do a meet and greet at a local music store. And we went there and met her. And somewhere, I don't know if I still have it or where it got put away in storage or whatever, but the newspaper took a picture, and I'm standing by her in the picture.
Oh, wow. How cool is that? Wow. Yeah. But see, Lita's career, I mean, nothing against Lita, because I love Lita Ford too, but her career has been much more like up and down, and she's supposedly working on a new album, and I personally can't wait to see what it sounds like. But Doro Pesh, she's kind of been nonstop, since that Triumph and Agony album, and again, that's that one album people kind of point to, when even the most casual Doro fan, that's the album that everybody seems to kind of know about,
Right. And it's cool that she's had Johnny D and Tommy Bolin stick it out as long as they have with her.
And she's very loyal to her guys. And in fact, Tommy Bolin, he was sharing with me in his interview. He said that over the years he got the he got other offers to join other bands. Like, for example, he's telling me he knew Bob Daisy, or he was kind of casual friends with him. He knew of him, and they talked over years. And there was an opportunity where he could have gone down and auditioned for Ozzy's band, but he was happy with Doro, and even on the advice by his own father, Tommy kind of agreed that I think I'm going to remain loyal to Doro. I'm going to stick with her. And he's like, you know what? I think in the end I made the right decision. He goes, because not only has she been good to me, but me and her are really good friends. We got this great chemistry. He's like, I kind of think things worked out the way they were meant to.
There you go.
And there is something to be said for loyalty. Not just, I'm not just talking about musicians in a rock band, but I'm talking about in life. I mean, one of the most important things to me, and being friends with anybody, is are they really a loyal person? You know what I mean? I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
I mean, to me, that's my number one thing. Even when I'm friends with somebody, I mean, I'm loyal to a fault, and I hope my friend is as well.
Likewise, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's few of us out there left in the world.
Yeah. I mean, you got to really. That's why, I'm the type of person that I could probably count my real true friends on one hand, but that's because you got to be very selective about who your friends are.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, what else have you been up to, Joe, lately?
Not a whole lot. I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing some training for a new job, and
good luck with that.
Right now, kind of working on that, getting redirected in a new career path, and so.
Well, we wish
that's kind of taken up most of my time, to be honest.
Yeah, we wish you luck with that. And is there any more forthcoming videos from the Scream Kings?
No, we haven't had anything right now. Everything's kind of on
hold. Okay.
October 1st, though, The Indomitable Spirit will be available on all streaming platforms.
Wow.
Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, I think all of that. So the digital download deluxe edition, and it also contains 3 unreleased tracks.
That's pretty cool. I like that. When you give people a little something extra, then well, I've already got this. Why should I buy this? Well, I'll tell you why. You got 3 extra tracks.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll be promoting that here a little bit too. I think I've posted it a couple times, but I'll try and get that out there as well to people if they're interested to check that out.
And I should let people know that that our latest episode that we just recently posted is our Striper episode, and I've been posting also like old clips of Striper, like the guys doing interviews and stuff from back in the day. It's funny the way they used to look, but in the videos and when we did that episode, I think you and I were both in agreement that I think Striper is much more of a metal band today than they were like when they were doing some of like that stuff like To Hell with the Devil. I mean, that's kind of the bread and butter. That's what everybody loves. But I mean, I think they're much more metal today.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're one of those bands that honestly they just kept getting better.
Yeah.
Every record they put out was good.
Yeah, but see,
it seems like they got heavier, and the production got better, and just a lot of things. I mean, they just kept improving. Yeah,
Striper, like a lot of one of my other favorite bands, Tesla. I think these are 2 bands that they broke up for a while, and then they came back even stronger, and higher record sales than ever. It's just amazing. Sometimes these bands go away for a while, and they come back, and they're stronger than ever. I mean, Striper's really one of those few bands that's been able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And did you hear about the new rockumentary on Stephen Pearcy?
Okay, yeah.
Called Nothing to Lose.
Yeah, I've been seeing some clips now. I think eventually, when the whole thing airs in its entirety, I think they might be going to put it out on DVD, and that's kind of what I would like to have. But he's kind of I've seen a couple clips, and like he talks about like going back to like his early days. Like he went back to the house where he grew up in San Diego, and I guess his folks have been, they passed away probably a couple years ago, and since then he wanted to go back, and he talked to the lady that was living in the house, and actually he shows, for example, in one scene there's this sign that's in the garage, it's like the rat logo, and he's showing the lady, oh man, you still have that sign we made, and she's like, oh, I was wondering what that was, and he goes, man, you kept that's been here all these years, wow. And he was showing us like where he grew up, and then there's this place you often hear him talk about, the Rat Mansion West. That's kind of where in the early days the band was all living together, kind of in this kind of dumpy looking apartment, and he goes, man, this is where that was, and he's like, you can see the building's been torn down, they're rebuilding it, but he just like kind of telling his story of really not even just about Rat, just his life story from like how he used to work on a crew pit doing race cars, and he's like, I got hit by a car, and so I got a guitar and started learning how to play the guitar. I wasn't originally even planning to become a musician. It kind of happened by accident, and then I think eventually in the final scene it's where he reunites with Bobby Blotzer. He has him come play drums one of his solo shows, and so that's kind of what that is. But I think when it's all done and said, they're kind of rolling it out in different episodes. But I think it'll be cool when people will be able to watch it from start to finish.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'd like to see that as well.
And Joe, before we wrap it up tonight, I wanted to ask you, because like I said earlier during the episode here, we've been doing this a little over a year now, and I think each show just gets kind of better and better. And I kind of looking back this last year, what are some things you've enjoyed about doing this?
Well, for me, it's a labor of love. I've loved music all my life. I've loved metal, and this is who I am. So this is where I'm in my comfort zone. So this is natural to me, to hang out, to talk to you, to learn new things about the artists and bands and new albums, and get introduced to some new stuff that maybe I hadn't been aware of, things like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty special, pretty awesome. For me, anyways, it is. So I really enjoy that.
And what I enjoyed, like I shared with you several times, is I get a kick out of like maybe getting turned on to some of this stuff that I wasn't as familiar with. I mean, going all the way back to the very first episode, like where we talked about Accept and the newer lineup, and we were talking specifically about the first album they did with the new singer, which was Blood of the Nations, and I'd heard of the album, how popular it was, but I'd never taken the time to really kind of listen to it. And then you said, why don't we, for episode 1, let's talk about that. And I went online and I listened to the tracks. Again, wow, how did I go by without even checking this out? And so I dig it for that reason alone. It kind of I get turned on stuff maybe I wasn't familiar with, and like anything I do, I'm like, well, okay, we're going to talk about it. I at least better go and listen to the stuff and not just pretend like I know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a treat when you can dig into something that you haven't heard of. I still do that. I'll still search and find and look and find some obscure band that I never heard of and just go listen to it. Just because sometimes, you find something, you're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. How did I not hear this?
Yeah, and now you were sharing with me earlier, when we were chatting earlier about doing tonight's show, one band that you want to do a future episode on, but I think we will do in the next couple of weeks. Another band I'm not hugely familiar with, but I'm aware of the band. I know their name, Sanctuary. And so I think that'll be a fun episode. And it seems like to me a lot of times I have fun, like when we did the episode on Dee Snider and Twisted Sister, because I'm such a huge Twisted Sister fan. And so that was fun. But I really kind of, those are the episodes I think that are the most fun for me, is kind of, because I actually, there's a lot of homework that goes into these episodes. Like even Joe was kind of sharing me, well, I didn't really do my homework this week because, I was kind of in between, I'm out of town in that right now, but you're telling me I know enough about DORO. We can talk about it. I'm a big enough fan, and yes, we were able to do it. And but we're honest about it. And like I said, there's a lot of I at least when we plan these shows, I at least for that week ahead, I'm on the internet. I'm reading up stuff. I'm kind of jotting stuff down in a notebook so that when we go to do the episode, I know exactly what I'm going to talk about.
There you go. That's all you can do, man.
Yeah, and
we're going to do an episode on Def Leppard too.
Yeah. In fact,
and this will be an interesting one, because I think, Jason, this might be the first episode where we're going to be like Siskel and Ebert here, because you have one opinion and I have a different opinion. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to go into this with a different approach like that. Yeah,
and I think, I'm not going to reveal anything here, but I will say, part of the conversation, because a lot of people listening to this, they might be sitting there listening, wait a minute, Def Leppard's not really a metal band, and I will agree with that sentiment, except for, if you go back to the first 2 albums, they were much more of a metal band on those first 2 albums, especially the very first album, and then I think later on they got kind of turned into a pop band, but we will definitely be having that discussion, and I think in the next 2 weeks after that, we're also going to be doing a show on Forbidden, and we're going to be doing a show on, again, Forbidden's a band I'm not really familiar with. I know the name, but I could not name one song or album, so I'm going to have to do my homework on that. And then I think another thing we're going to have a fun conversation on is we've been wanting to do a show on Anthrax, and we're going to be talking about the fact that this year Anthrax has been celebrating their 40th anniversary, which I think is quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it is. That's amazing.
Yeah. And anything else, Joe, before we wrap it up for tonight?
No. Again, if you can, post DORO's website where that's going to be available. I mean, the Triumph and Agony on Blu-ray and vinyl live. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, I know people can get it off of obviously like Amazon. You can get it through her website, which I think is www.doro.com. But I'll be posting all that on the This Is Metal page. So look for that later tonight, Joe.
For sure.
And thanks for doing this, Joe. And we will be talking to you next week. Take care, my friend.
Sounds good. You too, brother.
Bye-bye.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.